We're going to just jump right in. I got some chai tea today. I love the smell. It reminds me of when I was in India, although it's not nearly as good as it was when you could get it there. I think my first real experience with a boy was in elementary school, actually. And it was that classic, if a boy is mean to you, then that means he likes you. Which now I feel like that's so damaging. And I know some people would probably say that I'm too sensitive about that. But I truly do feel that it sets you up for being mistreated and thinking that it's a good thing. And in my own personal life, I am a very literal person. I take things very black and white. Like, there's not a lot of gray area for me. I have to be very intentional if I'm thinking in the gray zones. But I was told, if a boy is mean to you, that means he likes you. And I really took that in. And so then as I'm growing up, boys and even men being mean to me, I'm internalizing that as it's a good thing. That means they like me. There's some humorous stories there, like one of the boys that liked me hit me on the head with something, and I went and told his dad and got him in trouble. And we kind of stayed in each other's lives here and there, and would laugh about that from time to time. There was one boy when I was in Indiana. He was very, very sweet to me, although very shy. Heartbroken when I moved away. I think, honestly, that's probably the last time I was ever really treated well by a boy and seen for who I am as a person, and not what I could do for them or who I could be, or what I could add to their own lives. There's always something extra to it. I couldn't just be loved for existing. And I think that's what we all are hoping for. And I know some people have it, that couple that really stays together through absolutely every single trial and every change and every challenge, and they just love each other because they love each other. And it has nothing to do with what they do for each other. It's just who they are to each other. And I think that's so beautiful. And I really feel like it could be out there for everyone, but I don't think it's a guarantee that you'll find it or be able to notice it when it comes along. So I think on some level we're all hoping for that, and unfortunately can occasionally settle for the exact opposite of it. So my high school experiences were pretty tame. I was very sheltered. I wasn't allowed to really have a boyfriend, so any kind of interaction with a boy that I had to be secret. And there were times when my mom would find out that I had a quote-unquote boyfriend who I only saw at school or at church, and she'd make me call him and break up with him. So there were some pretty significant boys throughout the years that we just kind of danced around each other. And I think that it set me up for that kind of chasing feeling. None of them really just landed on being together. It was, at the time, there was this mentality that you shouldn't date because it can set you up for breaking up too much, like not trying hard enough. But I don't know if it was so much that, or if it was so much that we shouldn't be focusing on that at that age, because none of us really knew who we were. And I can't really fault any of the young men that I had crushes on or maybe had puppy love for, because we were all sort of navigating the same things at the same times. And we don't really know what forever means, so we can't exactly promise it at that age and really know what we're promising. But it doesn't change the significance of some of those relationships. One in particular was so controlling. His way of showing me that he loved me was to control my life and control who I was with, to the point where even when we were broken up, he would write me letters. That's how old I am. We wrote letters. he would write me letters telling me how much it hurt him that I brought another boy to church with me, because even though we're not together, he just can't stand to see me with someone else. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to talk to my mom about this, or anybody, because everything had to be a secret. And I think that was the biggest difficulty, and it set me up for the most amount of failure, was that I didn't have anyone I could talk to about any of it. And so I couldn't go to an older woman or even like a sister type person and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Is this normal? Is this safe? Is this healthy? Because I think my experiences would have been colored differently if I had been able to get advice from somebody who had been through it before. But I just was left on my own to figure it out. And the message from my childhood of a boy being mean to you means he likes you, that's a good thing, just be grateful, kind of carried over into my adolescence. And that kind of meanness and mistreatment, control, and wanting to just be picked by someone never allowed me to think that I could potentially do any of the picking. And it led to a lot of heartbreak. In my early 20s, I probably had the most significant heartbreak of my life. It was harder to get over than my divorce, to be quite frank, because he promised me everything and then believed a lie that my friends said about me and ended it without a discussion. It shattered me to think that he could believe somebody else's account and not even give me the benefit of a conversation or an explanation. None of it was true. She completely lied about it. And in fact, 10 or so years later, she felt so bad about it, she wrote him a letter and said that she lied, hoping that he would break up with me and want to be with her. And this is like decades ago. So we kind of all stayed in contact. She apologized to me, and then shortly after my divorce, he reached out to me and apologized and said that it was probably the biggest mistake of his life, which felt nice to hear, for sure. But in retrospect, even if he hadn't made that choice, I don't know that he would have been the best choice for me as a partner in my life, because there were still so many times that he was choosing other people over me, or over what he knew of me to be. And I think for him, I was, just to put it simply, arm candy in a lot of ways. I was super, super cute back then. Had all the things that you're supposed to have. I was the quintessential girl next door. And I think he probably didn't know what he was promising. And so I can't really fault him for that. But it was devastating and it was life-changing. And because of that carpet just being pulled out from under me, I thought I had my whole life figured out. I was going to leave home and travel the world with him. We were going to be missionaries together, and it was going to be this beautiful, amazing life. And then it's just over without even a second glance, and I don't even get a chance to ask any questions or explain anything. It just completely rocked my world. And I went from knowing the trajectory of my life to completely floundering and having to kind of go home with my tail between my legs and start over and figure everything out. And my mom said, well, you're going to get a job or you're going to go to college. You're going to do one or the other. You're not going to just sit around here and be sad. So I decided to go to college because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. And I felt like school was something I knew how to do and I was good at it, and it would be a good opportunity to meet some new people. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll meet someone who I can marry and I can just do what I'm supposed to do, have the family I'm supposed to have, and have the life that is mapped out for me, and just forget this boy and start my real life with somebody new. So that's what I went into college with the goal of doing, and that's where things went really, really sideways.